What makes invasive apple snails the worst invasive invertebrate of waterways? Overview. What is the invasive apple snail? The invasive apple snail is a large freshwater snail with a large variation in shell color. This species is in the top 100 worst invasive species and is possibly the most damaging aquatic snail, spreading via canals, rivers, and during floods. It feeds on aquatic plants and can devastate aquatic crops, such as rice in Southeast Asia and taro in Hawaii. It is also damaging to ecosystems as it preys on native fauna and outcompetes native apple snails, altering ecosystem functioning. This invasive snail is also a vector for many parasites, notably the nematode Angiostrongylus cantonensis, which causes eosinophilic meningitis in humans. The invasive apple snail is legally classified as a quarantine pest or a potential pest in several countries, including Australia, China, Malaysia, Spain, the USA, and Vietnam. This recognition highlights the global concern and the need for stringent measures to prevent its further spread. Taxonomic confusion and physical characteristics. The invasive apple snail is in the family Ampullariidae. Prior to genetic work in 2007-2009, P. canaliculata was often confused with P. maculata, another large aquatic snail, and the two species were both commonly called the golden apple snail. P. canaliculata is now called the invasive apple snail to avoid confusion. The snail's shell is smooth, pore 35 to 60 millimeters in height, and is yellow-brown to greenish-brown, sometimes with dark brown spiral bands. Adult females are larger than males. The foot is brown-gray and oval with long tentacles and a short snout. The eggs are spherical and pinkish in color and harden as time goes on, eventually becoming whitish-pink just before hatching. Eggs are laid just above the water surface, for example on rocks, plants, and bricks. The number of eggs per clutch averages 260. Ranging from as few as 12 to as many as 1,000. You can read more about the invasive apple snail's life cycle here. Native habitat. The natural range of P. canaliculata consists of the lower Paraná, Uruguay, and La Plata, Argentina basins. Although based on habitat similarity and watershed connections, it is possible that it may also occur in the lower reaches of the upper Paraná and parts of southern Brazil. The snail's range is likely to be restricted by temperature, as its southern limit in Argentina appears to be temperature dependent. This freshwater snail is restricted to wetlands that are flooded for at least part of the year, such as marshes, swamps, ditches, irrigation canals, ponds, and lakes. It is thus well suited for living in rice paddies, taro patches, natural water treatment facilities, and similar habitats. It can survive harsh environmental conditions caused by pollutants in the water. How did the invasive apple snail spread across the world? P. canaliculata was first introduced to Asia in Taiwan from Argentina in 1979 to 1981 as a potential food source. The snail found its way into aquaculture facilities in South Asia and was subsequently released into agricultural and natural wetlands and quickly spread to many countries in Southeast and East Asia. Especially infested areas include most of the rice paddies Taiwan, Japan, and the Philippines. The invasive apple snail was introduced to Hawaii in the 1980s and is now present in California, Arizona, and Florida. There is only one record of this species in Europe, in the Ebro Delta in Spain. This species causes issues in various South American countries, such as Ecuador, and has recently been detected in Kenya for the first time. To highlight the speed of spread of this species, it took only 5 years from initial introduction into Vietnam for Pomatia spp, both P. canaliculata and P. maculata, to be present in every rice-growing province of the country. The pet and aquarium trades has also played a role in P. canaliculata introduction and is thought to be the pathway of its introduction to Spain. Accidental introductions occur less commonly, with instances of juveniles and eggs being transported on boats or crop parts in Hawaii. The invasive apple snail is also introduced and used as a biological control agent for aquatic weeds, facilitating its spread. While P. canaliculata can spread naturally by floating downstream, crawling upstream, and even attaching to birds, this may not necessarily result in long-term, long-distance dispersal. It is thought that floods can play an important role in large-scale expansion of the snail's range by dispersing egg sacs, which can contain thousands of eggs each. However, the snail's rapid and long-distance expansion in Southeast Asia, following its introduction to Taiwan, was predominantly human-mediated. A recent collaboration between the Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service, and by scientists confirmed the presence of this highly invasive snail in Kenya in 2021. This has led to growing concern surrounding the impacts this snail might have on rice production in Kenya and surrounding countries if it spreads further. You can find out more information in the invasive apple snail portal here. The devastating impact of the invasive apple snail. In areas where it has been introduced, P. canaliculata causes economic harm, has become a human health problem in some regions, and has the potential to have serious environmental and biodiversity impacts. P. canaliculata is a generalist macrophyte omnivore, hence it consumes a huge range of species and has a profound impact on aquatic plants. Therefore, invasions of this species can have a negative impact on aquatic crop production and native biodiversity. There are reports of devastation to rice fields in Southeast Asia and taro crops in Hawaii, amongst many other crop species. The competitive behavior of P. canaliculata threatens native apple snails, disrupts ecosystems, and alters natural functions. The species has been linked to the decline of native Asian freshwater snails via competition for resources and will also prey on other species of aquatic snails. In Thailand, high densities of invasive apple snails result in depletion of aquatic vegetation, high nutrient concentrations, and high phytoplankton biomass. Furthermore, the species is a vector for several parasites that cause diseases in humans, such as a fluke that causes intestinal problems and schistosomes that cause dermatitis. Most importantly, these snails host the rat lungworm, Angiostrongylus cantonensis, which infects humans if ingested and can cause eosinophilic meningitis, which is potentially fatal. P. canaliculata is eaten raw as a delicacy in some areas in Asia, resulting in numerous cases of angiostrongyliasis in southern China, also caused by A. cantonensis. The empty shells of dead snails are also a health hazard, as they can cut the feet of people working in the fields.